What's up, listeners? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the In the Endzone podcast. Just a quick heads up before we jump right into it. You can find this recording as well as some of our previous recordings on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can find us by searching at Settle Down Media on both of those sites. Be sure to follow us on our social media pages. We regularly post on Instagram. You can find us by searching at In the Endzone podcast on Instagram. So thanks for watching this and enjoy the rest of the episode. Peace. Yo.
What's poppin', fellas? What is poppin'?
We're here, man. We're here.
Keaton, I'm afraid to ask what's going on with the background, man. I mean, last week we had this stint where, it was fake, but it wasn't fake at the same time. Now you're in a trash yard. It's what's going on?
You must smell like right now.
Yeah, dude.
Well,
take a shower in a while.
Well, I smell like some other player that played in a game recently, and currently I'm at his new home because he just got evicted. Josh Allen, man. We're roommates, baby. We're bunkies. We're here.
Wait, is that Justin Herbert in the background? You see him?
No, he's in the porta potties. The porta potties are right out.
He's right there. And then Jared Goff is in the top right corner.
Porta potties are right out of frame. Jared Goff is actually the sun. Jared Goff is the beautiful sun right there.
Oh,
my beautiful king.
Fellas, how we doing, Anthony?
Good. The weekend, kind of sucked. Specifically Sunday.
Yes, indeed.
Sunday evening sucked. Actually, honestly, all of Sunday sucked.
Not ideal.
Yeah.
Overall,
fine. It was fine. We just hanging out. We've been going back now. We've been watching some Dexter again. We've been going back on Original Sin there. It's been pretty good. Other than that, not too much going on with me, man.
Nice. Keaton, how's your weekend?
Week was good, man. Went to McCall this last weekend. With Hunter and his fiance, one of my best friends and his fiance, and just had a nice little weekend. Got to walk on a lake that was fully frozen.
Nice.
And then pretty much just did that. Got to come home Sunday, and what more can you say, man? I got to watch a quarterback choke another game. 4 out of the last 5 seasons.
Sure, you weren't playing Nintendo Switch Sports again?
Oh God.
No, I was doing that for the Commanders game.
We're really calling this a joke too.
You're not. You can't call because I feel like you were because clearly you didn't watch the whole game. If you're saying that,
yeah,
it was
we're really calling this a joke.
Really? Because he almost had 2 nasty interceptions in the first
half.
half.
Almost counts in horseshoes.
Below a 6.
That doesn't mean he did.
I see 0.
Yeah,
I see 0.
Yeah. No, yeah, you're right. But you know what? He played like shit in the first half. If you actually look at the stats.
No.
Okay. Sure.
Anyways, continue on with your week. I'm sorry.
Week was good, man. Week was good. Watch Josh Allen get dismantled. What can you do? What can you do? He can't beat him. And he never will.
Don't blame him.
Who do you want me to blame it on?
No. This is a Peyton Manning, Tom Brady thing. He'll eventually.
It's exactly.
Who do you want me to blame? Who do you want me to blame? Huh? Hey, you know what? Don't ever compare
Kincaid.
Josh Allen. It is not his fault. Do not compare Josh Allen to Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning had 5 MVPs. Don't ever compare that man to that bum. The only good thing he's got going is Haley Stein.
Why do you call him a bum?
Why a
0
bum?
MVPs?
Why is he a bum?
0 Super Bowls.
Oh my God!
Ridiculous.
Can't beat the Chiefs. Can't beat the Chiefs.
God. We're gonna get into this.
The Raiders beat the Chiefs.
We saw an intro.
How's your week?
Man. Like Anthony said, we didn't really do much on the weekend. Went to my cousin's house, watched the games. Just both disappointing. Obviously, you could just look at both of our reactions and tell that we were both very disappointed. Keaton, for some strange reason, wanted the Chiefs to win, and they did. And the only reason is because they beat the Niners' ass. So I'll give them that. That
Twice.
Is some grade A level 100 hating, and I respect it.
They're the only reason your Niners don't have 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
So
turned 2 of the best days of my life into the worst, which sucks. But yeah, week's been good. I've been super busy at work, and I'm just ready to talk some ball. But before we do, I wanted to give you guys, the listeners, a little information. We just dropped a new clothing drop, I should say. I don't really know how to word it, but go check out some of the merch if you guys have not yet. It is in the description. We dropped some hats, some new shirts, a lot of new stuff. So go check that out, and we're ready to talk some ball. Keaton?
Okay, let's go ahead and jump into it, yeah? Oh, almost didn't have it there. Green 18, red 48. Settle down. Wide 80, set hut.
We suck. We suck. Get rid of Belichick. Get rid of Mac Jones. Get rid of our entire fucking receiving core.
You guys are 2-8.
That's what I thought. 2-7, 2-8. It doesn't matter. We still suck.
So Seahawks played the Ravens. Final score was 28-25. Geno Smith, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. Anyway, not really much to write home about that game. Just
right.
This is
I don't think Jared Goff is a top 5 quarterback in the NFC.
Wait, are you putting Justin Herbert over Jared Goff?
Yes.
It was like an interview for like a new podcast company. Called Brazzers. I mean, you could see I'm literally in the headquarters right now, dude.
Look, fellas, it seems like it's going to be a business type of day, so let's just get right into it. We had 2 games, Commanders at Eagles, belt to ass. The Eagles destroyed the Commanders 55-23, and really the game that we want to talk about, obviously. I mean, you saw it in the intro. Chiefs versus Bills, 32-29. The Chiefs ended up taking that one. So obviously the Commanders lost to the Eagles, and that's the first game that we're going to talk about. But before we even just jump into the Commanders, maybe we should talk about the best player in the NFL, Saquon Barkley. I'm sorry, dude. He's playing like it. Is he the best player in the NFL? That's my question to you guys. Before we even get into it, I mean, homeboy looked like he was playing in Madden against future Hall of Famers. I mean, we talked about this. Your boy Bobby Wagner. Now, I'm not blaming it on him. I'm not saying it's just on him. However, they made him look like a shrimp.
He's old.
Lubu, man, oh man, that boy was jumping off sides more than he was tackling Saquon. I'm like, holy shit, dude, that was crazy.
Way that
Saquon is seriously the best player left in the playoffs besides Patrick Mahomes. Like, that's a genuine question. Is he?
Yeah. The way that Saquon moves up and down that fucking field, is able to carry that ball, cut upfield, and it's honestly incredible. It's something honestly we've never really seen before. I think the way
he's a dog.
Saquon Barkley is good at football. 5. It is nuts.
The last 5 games, he has 29 attempts, 31 attempts, 25 attempts, 26 attempts, 15 attempts. He has 150 yards, 167 yards, 119, 205, and 118. In these playoffs alone, let me just read out those stats. He has 41 attempts, 330-something yards. He's averaging 8 a carry. He's putting up goddamn Ashton Genty stats. 5 touchdowns and then a couple of receptions. He is going ballistic against playoff caliber teams. Defenses that are playoff caliber. Not saying that not the Ravens. Not saying that the Rams and the Commanders are a good defense by any means. But to put up those numbers in the playoffs, we knew he was great. But this looks fucking incredible. And also, another thing that I want to fucking say is the only way that the Eagles can win the Super Bowl, and I don't think we'll talk about this. We'll probably talk about this next week. I just want to say this as my preview. The only way that they will win is if Saquon has 200. I'm telling you, they better fucking go ballistic. Shout out to the Eagles, man. They had a fucking game plan. They destroyed the Commanders, scored 7 touchdowns just running the ball.
Look, I got to be honest. Sorry to interrupt you. First and foremost, Commanders, I true, you can say what you will, the fumbles and the whatever. Let's say hypothetically they don't play with 3 fumbles. I really do think we're talking about a different outcome for that game. And I say that because you at one point said belt to ass, and immediately the Commanders scored a touchdown. And I'm like, okay, it's only an 11-point game. Commanders get the ball back. This is right after half. Commanders get the ball back, and they start marching down the field. 3 straight first downs. And I go, okay, they scored a touchdown here. You're only down by 4. And it is midway through the 3rd quarter. You are right back in this game. And they're on the 50-yard line. Boom, another fumble. Austin Eckler fumble. I mean,
Jesus Christ, dude.
And then that was it, dude. Austin Eckler 2 fumbles, De'Ami Brown a fumble, an interception for Jaden Daniels. It was just, you can't especially in the red zone, like
Yeah, but
your own side of the field. You can't do that. You can't let those
I know
fumbles
that
go.
interception was bad, but it wasn't that bad. He had to
No,
force it at
no,
that point.
no. He was just in the first quarter. You could definitely tell the first half he was just trying to push things. Like he was struggling
for
to
sure.
make
For sure.
make things work. And I got to shout out the Eagles. That defense. I'll tell you what,
Defense looks different.
Cooper DeJean. Hey,
Dude, that's our Jackie Robinson for
Dude,
real though.
him,
He's
Reed
insane.
Blankenship, and who is the other guy?
Quinion Mitchell.
No.
Slay?
No, hold on.
Zach Bond.
It's 3 white players on the same, all
Zach
doing the
Bond.
same thing. No, it's not.
Boy from the Broncos. Miller?
I think he's let's see. Maybe I'm tripping, but there was a play where Cooper DeJean helped basically strip a fumble, and there was 2 other white players doing it, and I said, "Yeah, this is insane." The Eagles are doing something that no one else has seen.
Nope.
And you talk about the defense. On the offensive side, they're running the ball like no team has ever done before. This is very much like Warriors bringing Kevin Durant, right? For my basketball fans out there. The Warriors, like the Eagles, were already a Super Bowl team, right? They obviously hadn't won it before, but they had that same roster. It's very rare that you can continue that success. The year before this year, obviously they stunk it up. There was questions about whether Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts could make it work as a duo. And first and foremost, fuck the Giants. The Giants decided to give Daniel Jones life-changing money instead of paying Saquon Barkley $12 million because you can find a running back
horrible
anyway. And the Eagles say, hey, we want that. We want the best running back in the NFL this year. And they didn't, I don't think, knew what they were getting. I don't think that they knew they were getting this, but they knew they were getting greatness, especially when you put them behind the probably most consistent offensive line over the last 5 years, if not longer. One of the most dominant we've ever seen for this length of time. And they just said, we're going to give you the ball. We're going to let you run it. And Jalen Hurts, you're happy to not throw the ball 55 times. Just don't turn the ball over. And when we need you, do what you need to do. And he showed up today, or I guess Sunday, when they needed him most. He showed up and performed well.
Man, that knee looked good.
So
I'll say that. That's the first time where I've looked at Jalen and said, that looks like Jalen.
Yeah, he was running. He was throwing well.
Back. He ran for 3 touchdowns. They looked pretty fucking good.
That team just all in all looked very confident against that Commanders team. Like very confident from the start. First play too. Sure. That Commanders had got the ball right in the first half, and took a while for them to get upfield. Got the touchdown, or no, they got the field goal. Sorry, they got the field goal immediately. Saquon run right into the end zone, and just very next play. It was like
it was fucking crazy.
It was crazy.
Yeah, straight out. I mean, shout out to the Commanders though. I mean, it was kind of a little bit of a Cinderella story. They played really well. Jaden Daniels. I don't know why people are giving him shit. He didn't turn the ball over except for one time where he was pushing the ball down 20-something.
He played a good game.
Yeah, he played a good game. Had a hell of a fucking rookie season, man. Shout out to you guys. You guys have a bright future. That is for damn sure.
I want to say real quick one more thing about the Commanders team. For you Washington fans out there, the future is bright. Your guys' future is very bright with Jaden Daniels and that team right now. I see a lot, honestly, for the next few years. I see a lot of success with Washington.
Okay, but is this? Hold on.
I do.
I get what you're saying. My biggest concern is this like the Bengals that made it to the Super Bowl and have not been able to get back since.
No,
because what's changed? I mean, what changed with that team comparatively to this one? Ultimately, I mean, Joe Burrow couldn't stay healthy. That was the big caveat. But
that was the big one.
Oh, are you talking about the Bengals or the Commanders?
Yeah, he's comparing the Commanders with the Bengals right now. He's
the Commanders with the
Bengals situation.
Where they make it to the Super Bowl, everyone's like, okay, they lost. They realistically they shouldn't have lost, but whatever. Can they come back and be back here again? And they never really did.
I'd be shocked if they were in the NFC Championship again next year. That's my opinion. I think the NFC is going to get better. That division is going to get better.
The West
Maybe
is
not
going to
the
be
Cowboys,
great.
which we're going to fucking talk about. But yeah, I don't know. I could see them making the playoffs. I don't see them making a run. But
Yeah.
let's
But I
get
do
into
think
it.
they'll be great next year. I still think you give Jaden Daniels another year to grow. We've never seen anything like it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get into why we came here. Bills at Chiefs, 32-29. Josh Allen. Am I frozen?
no, you're good.
Am I frozen? There we
Nope,
go.
you're good.
Josh
Oh,
Allen.
here we go, fellas. Sorry, go ahead, Zach.
Deep breath, Josh Allen. He's 0-4 against Patrick Mahomes. Look, man, I know that you're going to shut on Keaton, and before you do, I just want to read out his stats because he didn't play a bad game.
No.
64.7 completion percentage, 237 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and a rating of 104.7. I also want to read out his stats against Patrick Mahomes.
Oh,
and
got a little jumpy there.
Are you going to pull that up or?
No, go right ahead.
Okay.
No, he's going to pull something else up.
Yeah, Keaton, you can go. I'll come back with this.
Okay. So there's this film study video that I was watching, and kind of sums up exactly what the Josh Allen experience we had in the first half. Now, I'm going to say this. He did not play like Lamar, okay? So I'll give him that credit. But ultimately, Lamar's first half play didn't really even matter in the grand scheme of things because it was really what happened at the end of the game that people are always going to look at, right? People are going to say Dalton Kincaid dropped that ball, but why does your season matter on that ugly of a play? It shouldn't, okay? First, I think the second throw of the game for Josh Allen, and again, he didn't have any interceptions, but look at this throw. Watch what he's doing right here. And I'll once it speeds up, it'll play. Might be frozen. No, it's still going. Hold on. Okay. Look at this throw. Look at that. And that's dropped. Okay. So you're like, all right, that's a bad throw objectively. Here's it fully played, and we get an ad. Cool. Awesome, YouTube. Sick. Okay. Now let's go to the next play. This was so objectively ugly. Trying to scramble out of the pocket. We'll play the full video. I mean, what the fuck? And they dropped it again. I mean, it's not like, I get it. He's scrambling out. He gets kind of, shocked as he throws it. And then he fumbles. I mean, look at this.
This one was really bad. The fumble was really bad.
He had 3 first half fumbles, and he was thankful that none of them were lost. We're talking about 5 of the most awful, god-awful plays you could ask out of a guy who people are considering generational. And I truly believe that had he not come out as awful as he did in that first half, again, we're talking about a different outcome for the game because it did end up just coming down to a fucking couple points. But again, that sloppy that early on, and you're already down 14-3 or whatever the case is, right? You already give up a touchdown right after you got the ball, and you just set the tone for the rest of the game. And then the defense played sloppy.
So I want to say this. I want to say a couple things. I agree that first quarter was pretty bad. And there were a couple fumbles that were really bad as well. However, I want to say a couple things. Number one, if you're Joe Brady and your offensive scheme this whole year has been to have Josh be conservative, not be as reckless as he's been in the past. He makes open throws. They run the ball, right? That's been your game plan this whole year. He makes open throws. He runs the ball when he needs to. You give it to fucking Cook when you need to. And they have playmakers that can go and make plays at an elite level. Elite, because they don't really have an elite wide receiver, but they have playmakers. Why in the fuck would you, in the beginning of the game, start your fucking drive 4 for 4 or 3 for 3 with passing yards? With passing attempts. You start the fucking game 3 for 3 with passing attempts down the field recklessly, knowing that Spags has done all his homework. And Spags, the GOAT that he is, he's been fucking reading on that shit. He's been doing his homework. He's been doing the film study. He does the fucking cover 2 bullshit safety where they go around and it's like, okay, number one, yeah, Josh Allen should not have made a couple of those throws. Yeah, I agree with that. Number 2, the fumbling, unexcusable. It's inexcusable. You can't say anything about that. However, I blame Joe Brady a little bit, and McDermott, I don't know. When it comes down to it, McDermott doesn't get it done. You can put some blame on him as well, but I'm going to blame Joe Brady. Why the fuck in the first half, if Cook had 80 yards, would you go away from that in the second half and continue to throw the ball and continue to throw the ball and continue to throw the ball? And why would you start the game throwing the ball recklessly?
Because you're not going to win. Because you're not going to win a game on rushing yards. You are not set up like the Eagles are set up.
Hold on, Keaton. Hold on. This is the thing. This is the Patrick Mahomes, and I'm not glazing. But this really is the Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs, the Andy Reid effect. You go into a game and you think, oh, I need to do something differently because to beat the champs, you have to beat the champs. Just like Josh Allen said, right? He goes out there, he's a little reckless, and what the fuck?
That was weird. Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
And he was reckless in the beginning. He looked nervous. He dropped the ball. That first quarter was not ideal, right? But you go into it, and Josh Allen made enough plays to win the game. And I'm not blaming him entirely.
No.
If I was to be a hater of him, I'd say, the first quarter was awful, right? I'm trying to play devil's advocate of both, right? But I do like Josh Allen, so I'm going to say both ends. I do think he played bad. However, I do think there were some plays that were made that were not the greatest.
Wholeheartedly agree.
That were not made that, like he said, in order to beat the champ, you have to beat the champ. Now, let me read this out.
Let me say this.
Head-to-head playoff stats. Mahomes, 1,163 yards, a 74 completion percentage rate, 12 total touchdowns, 1 turnover, 123.7 pass rating. Allen, 1,039 yards, 65.9 completion percentage, 11 total touchdowns, 1 turnover, 100.2 pass rating. Chiefs are 4-0. So they've almost played pretty similar ball, right? The difference between Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen is Patrick Mahomes is not only surrounded by the best coaching staff of all time, he's surrounded by players that have been there and done it. And look, like I said, I don't want to put the blame on either Josh or either players for not making plays or for Josh, making some mistakes. However, there's got to be some fucking credit to the players that made the actual good plays and give some blame to the players that did too. Dalton Kincaid, I know that everyone's like, he should have caught that. That's a tough ass catch.
It is.
I mean, as a Bills fan, I'm like, or a Bills fan during that game, I was like, fuck, Dalton, like, why the fuck aren't you catch that? He laid the fuck out. Most people don't catch that, especially without a spiral, right? But that's not even it. You look at these plays like the 4th and 1. I mean, look, we're not blaming refs or anything, but that could have been a first down call. Or even the homeboy, the safety that I don't think it was DeMar Hamlin. Who's their other safety? The other safety that should have made that pick. That didn't get the pick. And then Xavier Worthy grabbed the ball right from him and it hit the ground. It wasn't called. However, you got to make that play. And in the end, the defense didn't stop Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen
the failed 2-point conversions,
Look, I think when it came down to it, again, everyone wants to hate on the fucking Chiefs, but the Chiefs, when it comes down to it, they are the best coached team in the NFL. And they continue to prove that, and they continue to win games when it matters. And Spagnuolo is a fucking genius. Spags is a fucking genius. I'm sorry. He's fucking genius. You wait the whole game. That one blitz call that I guarantee you they practice over and over and over again. Just for a situation like this, you wait the whole game. You probably didn't show that all year. Then you throw it in, and Josh has to throw it up. Makes a decent throw, catchable throw, but they end up losing, man. And it was just another masterclass, honestly. And realistically, look, I hate fucking Patrick Mahomes because he's, like you said, Keaton, he's beat me twice in the playoffs, or my team in the playoffs twice.
Not just the playoffs,
but
the playoff.
Yeah.
The game.
Twice. But you watch a game like this, and that's just an Andy Reid masterclass. It's just an Andy Reid masterclass. He made a Bills defense that's been great all year look awful. And the only thing that I wanted to say was because the Chiefs did get a lot of backlash in this game. And we talked about this. We think that typically the refs are pretty fair with both of them. However, I've seen this stat be pulled up a couple of times, so I guess this will be my crazy stat. The Chiefs have never been penalized more than their opponents, having been flagged, and this is in the Patrick Mahomes era in the playoffs, in postseason, having been flagged less than 10 times in their last 11 playoff games, while 10 of their opponents have been flagged at least 10 times since 2021, Patrick Mahomes coming to the Chiefs. The only game that they were, I think it was the 12th game, that's not included in this stat, but the only game that they were penalized more than the other team was penalized was the game against Tom Brady and the Bucks when they lost in the Super Bowl. So little bit of a bone to chew on there. I'm not blaming the refs. I think there were 2 calls that were major, but like I said, I'm not going to blame either Josh Allen not making plays, the Bills not making plays when it mattered, or they did make the plays that were awful, right? The defense didn't show up, blah, 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 whatever. Or I'm not blaming the refs. However, when it came down to it, the Chiefs were the better coach team, and it showed. That's why they won, in my opinion. It sucks. But I'm not blaming Josh. I think that's blasphemous, Keaton. I'm sorry. And we got into it a little bit earlier, but that's blasphemous to me.
I agree with Zach on this.
I know that he played bad in the first, but it's like, do you think they would have blown him out if he played better? Like, what's the outcome? Like, what do you expect? That's my thing. It's like that game.
I think if they play better in the first quarter, we're not talking as close as we are about this game. I really, football is a war of attrition. But I ultimately believe that if Josh Allen played consistent, if he played in the second half like he played in the first half, we're not talking about this game with the Chiefs advancing to another Super Bowl. We're talking about this game as, hey, the Bills finally did it. And you know the one thing, and Ann, I'm so sorry, I'll let you say this. I'm going to say this. Josh Allen has been so good this year because of his ability to run the football, right? We saw it kind of closer to the end of the game when they were, going back and forth, where, you get on a 3rd and 10 and Spags would run man coverage. So you're looking for a guy and they're not running a Mike linebacker. So Josh Allen can just run 15 yards a couple times here and there. What he wasn't able to do, though, effectively is get into the end zone with his legs. And I think it's really a thing that the defense for the Chiefs tried to limit. They blitzed on, I think it was like 48% of the snaps because they knew if you let Josh Allen catch fire with his legs, he's going to catch fire with his arm. And if you limit him and blitz him and make him throw out of the pocket or make him throw uncomfortable throws, you'll ultimately get what you had in the first half, which was sloppy play. He was nervous. There's definitely like, I've got to win this game. It's my legacy. I have to do this. And I don't think in his head he could overcome that until he calmed down in the second half. And we kind of saw that with Jaden Daniels too. It's like almost as if it felt like the moment was maybe too big for them and the game plan wasn't the right setup until the second half. So I don't look, I'm not going to sit here and say Josh Allen, blah, blah, blah. Like Lamar Jackson lost the Ravens that game because he ultimately had. But Josh Allen could have played better. Like, I'm not sitting here and not saying Josh Allen doesn't deserve some of the blame, right? It's not just Dalton Kincaid's fault. It's not just the defense fault. It's not Sean McDermott's fault or the ref's fault or like not all of their faults. I think it's kind of like a pizza. Everybody has to get a slice of the blame, and Josh Allen ultimately shouldn't be shielded from this blame. He shouldn't get all of it, but he gets a little pepperonis, Ant,
He gets a bite. He gets a bite.
He gets a Red Baron slice with pepperonis on it.
What do you think?
I think all in all, and I think we take everything aside. Phenomenal game, honestly. We put everything aside. We put whatever team we wanted to win. I mean, Keaton, I know you wanted the Chiefs to win, but like all in all, great game, phenomenal gameplay all around from both sides. Yes, there were mistakes on both sides. I won't even blame the refs either when it comes down to it. Yes, were there maybe 2 calls I think that the refs missed on or that they made or 3 that I think that should have been made? Yes, but ultimately though, that wasn't your typical average game where it seemed so one-sided for the Chiefs. It really didn't. There were multiple calls for both sides of the team. Like I said, maybe there's 2 to 3 that I think that should have been called, but those are tough calls to make in the end of the day. Especially that 4th and 1. Personally, I think that was a first down. Even before that, with Kincaid going up, I think that was a first down. But when it was the 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5 or whatever, and then led to that 4th and 1, I think both of those were first downs. But those are tough calls to make end of the day, right? And you got to hand it to that Chiefs defense. They locked up that offense completely. I mean, Josh Allen, he made some great throws to Mac Hollins for the end zone right there. But I mean, that Chiefs defense really secured it for the most part. And I hate to say it, but because of that, I mean, yeah, Chiefs absolutely deserve that win, especially Bills missing like what 2 to 3 2-point conversions right there. I kept on saying, just take the extra point.
Yep.
Just take the extra point every single time. I kept on saying, just go for the extra point. Stop going for the 2-point conversions. Don't take this. And
Do it later in the game.
they just kept messing up right there in the red zone. The Bills simply could not get it done.
No, sir. No, they
And
couldn't.
that's just how it went.
Wins and losses
Yeah.
are mistakes.
But I agree though. So Josh Allen, yes, first quarter. If you didn't make those mistakes, you never know. I mean, and it's not like, I mean, Patrick Mahomes also made, he had fumbled twice, recovered one, and then fumble recovery for the Bills. But I mean, yeah, Josh Allen, if he played better in the first quarter, yeah, maybe things would have been a little bit different. But
Yeah.
it is what
But-
it is,
Shoulda,
and
coulda.
gonna have to move on. Yeah.
Woulda, coulda.
Shoulda, woulda,
Yeah.
coulda, man. I want to say two things. One, I don't understand how the Bills were 28 for 30 with push tushes. They ran it horribly
It was
in that
bad.
game. The running
It was
back
bad.
didn't even push him. So that goes back
Yeah.
to the 4th and 1, Anthony. And the reason why I don't think I'd ever blame the refs is because whatever call is on the field, unless there's definitive information and evidence that shows that you can overturn it, is going to be the call. Both of those ones, 2 out of the 3 that we've both talked about, Anthony, the one that hit the ground for the interception or reception for Xavier Worthy and that 4th and 1 were called on the field as the same thing that was called.
Yep.
So it's like, you can't blame the refs. They do that 90% of the time, right? And then the other thing is, Keaton.
Which I didn't think that was a bad call.
No, I mean, the 4th and 1 was tough. I will
The
say
4th and
that-
1 was crazy. The 4th and 1 was bad. That one's like,
That was tough. But even the other one, that ball hit the ground.
but okay,
did.
but it can hit the ground, but I didn't see enough movement to say that's
It
incomplete.
didn't move, but I don't
didn't.
know. It's
So I don't know.
That's-
I don't
But
know.
the
It's
thing
weird.
is,
It was
though,
a
like
weird
it's
play.
hard
It's
from
too
that
close.
angle. From that angle, it's hard to tell even if he had possession, right?
My only
From
question:
that camera angle,
Did
you
they
can't
call
tell.
it? Did they call it a catch when it
No,
happened?
They called it a catch when it happened. Yes.
They called it
Okay,
a
so
catch
in
when
a
it
lot of
when that
times that's
happened.
what happens. It's too close to call back.
However, the first down, this was the sus part. There was one ref that was about a half yard.
Yeah, I
past
saw
the
that.
first
That was
down. There
crazy.
another one
That was
wasn't.
crazy.
That was
Yeah.
crazy. I wanted to say this, Keaton, because this kind of reminded me, and this would be the only argument that I have against you with Josh Allen. Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl against the 49ers. 26 for 42, 2020, his first one. 286 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and a rating of 78.1. He had 2 interceptions in that first half and then had the greatest second half maybe I've ever seen, right?
Sure.
And that kind of reminded me of Josh Allen if those interceptions were caught. So it's like
Sure.
these quarterbacks definitely do it. And again, I know.
Oh,
we're
it
not-
happens.
But
It
in
happens.
These games, like Josh Allen said, to beat the champs, you have to beat the champs. It comes
Yeah.
down to so many little things. And the piece of the pie that you just made that analogy with is literally perfect. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
You can give
Yeah.
Josh Allen
That's also
2 slices. You can
yeah.
give
Jimmy
McDermott
G
one.
also had 2 interceptions on that
Yeah,
Super
I
Bowl.
mean,
Sorry,
it's circumstances.
but
It's
I get what you're saying. Yeah,
circumstances.
exactly.
But
Mhm.
what a game. Seriously, it was a pleasure. This Super Bowl will be a lot of fun, but let's roll into some of the news because we are getting kind of deep into the offseason with coaches changing and coaches getting hired and stuff like that. And that's really all we're going to talk about today. So the first piece of news that we have is Pete Carroll is announced as the Raiders' new head coach. Homeboy is 3 years old, He got a 3-year contract and he's 137-89 with his coaching record. Keaton, what do you think about this? And I
Okay.
will say, I think you're going to mention it, so maybe I shouldn't say anything, but there's a little rivalry that's being lit again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have a feeling
Um,
you're probably going to mention it.
Not really. I haven't really given that too much thought, but
Okay.
one of the things I wanted to say. So, I think a lot of people. Okay, so real quick, 73 years old. It makes him the oldest NFL head coach to ever coach. Okay, so that's first thing.
Ever?
Yes, I believe so. 100. You can fact check me. 137-89 is his record when he was in Seattle. Obviously, he has some coaching tenure with the Jets and the Patriots, but ultimately, I mean, that's pretty much what he was in Seattle, his most recent tenure. I truly do love this pick. Not so much for the scheme side of things, because I'll be honest, if you guys watched last year, you watched how much I complained about Pete Carroll as an NFL head coach, and I watched him live my whole life, and I didn't love it. right? Because I felt like he's lost a little bit of edge on how the game's supposed to be played. And ultimately, you see Mike McDonald, another defensive-minded guy, come in, and the game's completely different for them. What I do love about Pete Carroll, though, is the culture he brings. And I think that's always something he's dominated in. And realistically, you have a Raiders franchise that hasn't had a winning culture in 25 years, if not longer, 30 years. And what Pete Carroll brings is the mentality that we're going to kick ass. And I might not be the best coach to call a defense or an offense, but I know how to bring in the right guys.
I'm gonna bring in a fucking culture.
I know how to bring in the right guys, and I'm not going to be the guy that's like, hey, you're not trying, get the fuck out. I'm going to be more of like a mentor to this franchise, and I'm going to make sure I have the right organization. And so I don't necessarily think it's the perfect fit schematically, but on the other hand, Pete Carroll's a great head coach when it comes to quarterbacks. I mean, he had the prime of Russell Wilson. He brought the best out of Geno Smith, and I really do believe that he's going to do the same thing with whoever they get, because they're not getting Shedeur Sanders, they're not getting Cam Ward. They shouldn't get a quarterback. So if you get Sam Darnold, I love the hire of Pete Carroll. If you can maximize Aiden O'Connell, I love the hiring of Pete Carroll. But time will tell, because I hated Pete Carroll the last 2 years. So we'll see. I like it though.
Yeah, dude. I'm really fucking excited for this rivalry again. And this started back in the USC days for Carroll. Him and Harbaugh have had a beef since college. And then they rolled it into probably the most toxic, it's definitely been the most toxic era of Seahawks versus 49ers, at least that I've been alive for. I was trying to think of another one that could have been.
No, it was.
There was definitely some toxicity.
That's one of the greatest rivalries of all time.
The biggest rivalry of our lifetime, at least with Seattle versus the 49ers.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's probably another year or really era that matches that. But
no,
I mean, they do not like each other. And, it's relit. They both are talking
excited
already. But I will say this. I think that, like you said, Keaton, he brings in not just like a culture, but he brings in a winning culture. And I want to say this. New Raiders coach Pete Carroll's record versus other AFC West coaches. 5-4 versus Jim Harbaugh, including the playoff win versus the Niners and that whole rivalry. So I think he has a mental edge, at least over Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers. 3-4 versus Sean Payton and 2-3 versus Andy Reid. So he's either 500 or damn near 500 or above 500 against all the coaches in the AFC West. The Raiders team has some fucking talent, man. You just got to play. You got to put some players together and play some good games, and I think that they could be decent. This is a good hiring.
I do too.
I
like it.
I really think that this is probably one of the better ones that they could have, at least with the coaches that are available. But I mean, as a Raiders fan, I'd be extremely excited. Moving on, though, we got Liam Cohen hired as the new head coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm laughing.
Duval!
He had one of the worst press conferences I've ever seen. Jacksonville Jaguars, the county of Duval.
Okay.
If you guys haven't seen this, I hope that you can play it with the volume because it's so much better. So much better. But yeah, get into it, or whoever is going to explain this, get into it.
Okay, so this is a trippy hiring, and this is one of the ugliest hirings of all time. Okay, so Liam Cohen, he let me just read his tenure because he's had a great career. And he's moved up very fast. Los Angeles Rams 2022, he was the offensive coordinator. Now, ultimately, he's kind of second fiddle to Sean McVay. Then he goes to Kentucky, and he's the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach at a Kentucky team that, to my knowledge, was really good that year. He comes back to the NFL, and he's the Tampa Bay Bucs offensive coordinator. This was one of the best offenses Tampa Bay's had in a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so he's now young guy. This guy's got a great offensive mindset behind him. He is a huge favorite to land a head coaching role. And the Jags get told by Ben Johnson, not going to happen. So then they say, hey, Liam, we want you to coach for us. He says, okay, I'll do it, but on one condition. Me and Trent Baalke, who was at the time the Jaguars GM, who should have been fired years ago.
If you guys don't know, he was the fucking GM for the 49ers. Awful.
Yes, and Trent Baalke is
awful.
So So Liam Cohen basically says, I will take this job. And he tells the Bucks, I'm going to take this job. And they say, okay, dude, congrats. He goes, but he tells us this Shadar Khan or whoever the owner is, whatever his name is, I want you to fire Trent Baalke because I don't want to work under him. I don't think he's a good mind. And they say, sorry, dude, he's here to stay.
Oh.
So Liam Cohen says, all right, I'm standing on business. You're not going to fire him. I'll head back. So he tells the Bucks, hey, man, things didn't work out. I'm coming back to be with you guys. Khan goes, well, fuck, we can't waste this opportunity. He basically comes out and says, well, I think it's finally time we fire Trent Baalke. And, we want to make sure the fans want it or whatever. We've been kind of waiting to do it, but we want to make sure it's the right time. First and foremost, if you've been waiting to fire your GM and you've been waiting for the right time, is crazy. But they decide, okay, let's fire him. Before they lock down Liam Cohen, they fire Trent Baalke and say, all right, dude, you're gone. So now they're without not only a head coach, but a GM. They call Liam Cohen and say, we need you back. We're begging you, brother, please. I will give you unlimited head. They give him a private jet. They wine and dine him. They, I think, gave him like a 20% boost on what they were originally offering. And he says, okay, let's do it. And he took it. I think you know what? I'll tell you what. Say what you will about Liam Cohen. I think he'll be a great hire, but fuck me, does he stand on business? That is tough.
So I want to say this. There were a lot of press conferences that have defined coaches and not defined coaches. And I want to say this. I don't think that's going to define his coaching in Jacksonville. However, that is a rough start. And the only reason I say that I don't think it's going to define him because we've seen some awkward ones like this, and it has just gone horribly, right? Even with the Jets, that press conference was fucking whack. He's like, we are the fucking Jets. Like, I took this job. Like, I'm like, okay, dude, calm down. Anyways, the only reason that I believe that it's not going to define his coaching job there is because, like you said, Keaton, that Bucks team loved him. He has the players' respect. He knows how to get that respect. And I think in Jacksonville, they're going to need some discipline. They're going to need something because that is a shitty-ass organization. Firing Trent Baalke is probably fucking for the better, man. And I genuinely just think that I don't know if they're going to be great, but I think this is definitely a step in the right direction, regardless of the Duval.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a decent hiring. Probably the worst hiring that we've seen so far in the offseason has been the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, Brian Schottenheimer. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I might be, I might not be.
Yep,
Brian Schottenheimer. Man, oh man. And I don't want to just say that his press conference has been his press conference has been bad because his has been bad. However, the reaction of the Dallas Cowboys and our boy Geriatric Jones with this whole situation has been even worse. There have been so many videos. His press conference was bad. No one believes that he's going to win. He doesn't even know, like, he doesn't even know where the fuck he's at. He doesn't even know if he belongs there. He genuinely, and Brian, I don't know you. I don't know you as a coach. I don't really know you as a guy.
I do. Man,
oh man, homeboy did not seem confident. He seemed like he had never been in front of a fucking mic before. However, Geriatric Jones, the way that he explained things and described things, he was talking about glory holes and shit. Like some crazy whack shit, dude. Like, it's just not a good hiring.
He's a yes man.
Get into it, man.
Okay. I won't say much. I think this is a really uninspiring hire. I think ultimately, we were all talking a couple weeks ago about how Deion Sanders might have been the guy and that it was really looking like that was the case. What I do think happened was that Deion Sanders and Jerry Jones did not get along. Deion Sanders and Jerry Jones are two of the most egotistical guys in football, and I think they would have butt heads. Brian Schottenheimer has coached since 1997. He is 51 years old. In that time, he has been on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 9 different teams, 10 total stints. He's also been to 1, 2, 3 colleges. And in that time, in that span, he has never held a head coaching job. In 2018, he became the OC of Seattle. And we actually had a great 2020 where we finished 12-4 as an insane year. But all of a sudden things just fell apart like last couple weeks. And Russell Wilson, this was like the let Russ cook era.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh,
we
yeah.
just couldn't
Here
get
we
things
go.
going. It was
I
like,
did
why
not
isn't he
know
cooking?
was your OC.
And
No
so we
way.
fired
That's
him. We
insane.
fired him right after that Rams game. He gets picked up by Jacksonville Jaguars in 2021 to be the passing game coordinator. They go 3-14. Then he goes to Dallas, became a coaching analyst, then became the OC from 2023 to 2024. And he's finally the head coach. And the only thing I'll say about Brian Schottenheimer is two things. One, he is basically Mike McCarthy in the fact that he will do whatever Jerry Jones says. But also, if this is the guy
Just
you're
slurping
saying
that thing
we
up.
don't want Mike McCarthy, if this is the guy that you're bringing in, you might have, I truly believe you would have had a better chance.
With Mike.
Yeah, giving him like a 2-year prove-it extension and firing him after 1 season. This is uninspiring. This doesn't do anything.
Uninspiring.
It is. It is. It's uninspiring.
It is. It is. I mean, I feel like
Fuck.
not even giving them a little bit of credit.
Fuck.
Like, dude, this is crazy. That is the one guy that I was shocked to see. Like, Brian, we're talking about Brian.
We're talking about playoffs?
Speaking of Mike McCarthy, by the
Dude,
way,
there were so
Mike
many guys
McCarthy.
that we go for it. Sorry.
I was going to say, speaking of Mike McCarthy won't be coaching this season. Will instead focus on 2026 head coaching cycle.
Maybe you should focus on Ozempic, fat fuck.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, I just want to point that out there.
Sorry.
But I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to discredit what they're doing here. And it makes sense that they need to move on, but it just does not make sense. You have a coach that you just said has been through 10 teams, never been a head coach before. His name is fucking Brian Schottenheimer.
Well, okay, his father, his father's football royalty. Marty Schottenheimer is considered one of the more, like, I wouldn't say he's like the greatest coach, but he's definitely like has a history of he played in the NFL, and then he as a coach was general manager, head coach of the Chargers, head coach of the Skins, head coach of the Chiefs, head coach of the Browns, and then he was defensive coordinator all the way through. I mean, he was literally a head coach from 84 all the way to 2006.
Right.
So this guy's been but Brian's just never amounted to shit.
I mean, his name
He
is
hasn't.
Brian Schottenheimer. I'm sorry. He just sounds like
Brian.
And he
Brian.
really was a meme. I mean, that press conference was awful. Uninspiring to say the least. And really, realistically, we're giving him some credit by saying that. It was more than uninspiring. It looked unmotivating. It looked like he wanted to go eat his chips on a fucking couch. Like, it just did not look good. But hey, it's the Cowboys. I'm happy about it. Fuck them. Moving on to another team that I'm not too fond about, but Seahawks hired Clint Kubiak as their OC. He was the former OC of the Saints. Keaton, this is your team. How we feeling, man?
Okay, I feel great about this. I am going to go watch some film this weekend while I'm doing some school to see what he brings. But the one thing I can say is this guy's a really good quarterback-minded coach. And so for me, what this speaks volume is that he is what exactly Geno Smith needed, right? I think he's going to boast that offensive line. I think he's going to find the right pieces for it. And ultimately, every team that he's been either the offensive coordinator or the quarterback's coach for, he was, let's just read this out, New Orleans Saints offensive coordinator. Even though Derek Carr was unhealthy, in the games that he was healthy, he was a top 10 quarterback in a lot of stats, passing yards, completion percentage, touchdown interception ratio. Okay. Before that, San Francisco 49ers, he's the passing game coordinator. 2023, we know how good that team was and how good Brock Purdy was in 2023. Denver Broncos 2022, I'm going to wipe that off the slate. That was a rough year for everybody. I don't blame Russell Wilson. I don't blame any. Like, it's not. That was just a really shitty year.
A weird year. Yeah.
However, right before that, he is the quarterback's coach for the Minnesota Vikings in the 3 Kirk Cousins years. And in those years, Kirk Cousins was a top 5 quarterback in a lot of metrics. So while he hasn't had, since 2010, he's never been an NFL head coach. What he brings is just a different mindset than Ryan Grubb had. And I think he's going to be more pass heavy, but he's going to be more consistently scheming for Geno Smith to fit what Geno Smith can do. No more of this shotgun. Let's hold a blitz and let's just let Geno do whatever he. Yes, he's not going to do that. It's going to be consistent, Geno.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Um,
I like it.
yeah,
I
that
like it.
2022 Broncos year, that was a weird year. I would
Yeah.
not even put that in
Yeah.
his resume. But
No.
honestly, he's
Bad
done
year for
really
everyone.
good. I
He's
mean,
done a
even
great
with
job.
Brock, he looks fucking fantastic. And
I'm
speaking about
excited.
the 49ers and being excited, the 49ers rehired Robert Saleh. Look, man,
The rivalry is so back. The rivalry is back.
not only is the rivalry back, but the 49ers
So is Salah.
are starting to plan their offseason. And this was the one thing, number one, that I said that they needed to do, and they did it. And so now I'm excited. The only thing that I'm going to say is don't let him persuade you into picking a fucking defensive player with that 11th pick. Pick goddamn Will Campbell.
He's
Trade
gone.
up for that pick.
Will Campbell's cooked, dude. He's gone.
Trade up for him, bro. He's so good. He's so good. Anyway, as a
yeah.
49ers fan, I'm really fucking hyped.
I'm so pumped for you guys,
NFC
genuinely.
West is gonna be fucking stacked.
Nick Sorensen?
Next year is gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
Nick Sorensen, I think, was hired as either the assistant special teams coach for the Cowboys or the
special teams coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes. So
yeah.
I can't believe that. I mean, we were going to bring him back, and then Robert Saleh came. He's like, nope, fuck that. I'm bringing over our special teams coordinator from the Jets, and he did exactly that.
Nice.
I'm fucking hyped. Special teams sucked last year. Our defense looked like it wasn't schemed well. Robert Saleh, when he was there, was top 5 in pretty much every metric. That 2019 defense, like we know, is one of the greatest ever, at least in 49ers history that I've watched. Statistically, they're one of the greatest too. But beyond that, I'm really excited just for the culture that he brings. Homeboy is different. And as long as Nick Bosa and Fred Warner are happy, I'm happy. And they both posted them extremely happy. I'm just hoping that team gets it done next year. Not getting
you guys have the easiest schedule next year. You guys should.
Come on now. Hey, it's lining up. Just stay healthy. Stay healthy and pick some offensive linemen. Moving on to the last one. And I mentioned this earlier, but we are the fucking Jets. Aaron Glenn has been hired as the head coach of the Jets.
I love it.
He is the former DC of the Lions, and I love it as well. It's a great fucking hiring. And if you guys don't understand the first part that I just said with this head coach interview, his press conference was inspiring. It was definitely not uninspiring. Homeboy was fucking hyped. He was hyped. Maybe to a point where it was a little bit cringy, but he said, we are the fucking Jets. I took this job. I didn't get handed this job or some bullshit like that. So, dude, he's bringing a different energy to a Jets defense, and he's obviously defensive-minded. So, he's bringing a defense or energy to that defense that is going to be different, and that Jets team has a lot of talent on it, at least on the defensive side. However, we've seen this defensive-minded head coaches have not succeeded a lot in the NFL. That's all I'm going to say.
You know what?
Organization, it's shit. Yeah. However, I think it's a culture thing, and I think it's great.
I love him so much
for the culture.
I really do. I think he's a hell of a fit. This is like the first time where I'm like, okay, Jets, don't fuck this up. You don't deserve this guy. You don't deserve him. Take care of him. I beg you, please do not fuck him over.
I don't think they will. Just knowing.
Me too. Me too.
They won't. Ant, Keaton, any crazy stats?
I don't have much. I really don't. Saquon, just a really good running back.
I mean, I was gonna say, I don't know. I guess I'll just say this one. I mean, it's kind of obvious, but Patrick Mahomes is 17-3 in his playoff career. His 3 losses: Tom Brady, then Joe Burrow. That's it. That's my crazy quote unquote stat, I guess. But
piggybacking off of that, Patrick Mahomes is now second in playoff wins of all time. He just passed up my boy, Joe Montana. I believe he has 17 and Tom Brady has 36, which is fucking ridiculous. But either way, he is now second in the NFL all time in playoff wins. Congratulations, buddy. You are really fucking annoying, but really, really good. And I do respect you, even if I hate you.
Yes.
Moving on, typically we would give our prediction, but we have 2 weeks until the Super Bowl. So we have some other predictions that we're going to do. I'm going to pull up the finalists for all of the awards, and we are going to say as a group here, our most valuable player, the defensive player of the year, the AP offensive player of the year, offensive rookie of the year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, AP Comeback Player of the Year, and all of the awards that you see here. We're going to give our predictions. Let's start with the most valuable player. I'll give my prediction. I think it's going to be fucking Lamar Jackson yet again. But if I was to give it out myself, I'd give it to Josh.
I'll go next, honestly. Most valuable? Yeah.
Maybe we do
And
that.
for-
Maybe we
for-
pick who we think should win and then who we
For
excuse me, who we
MVP?
pick as the MVP or who we think is going to actually win.
For MVP, honestly, I think it's going to be Saquon.
What?
Yeah.
No way. That's
I
who you
mean-
want to win, or that's who you think?
That's who I think, honestly. Actually, no,
Okay.
that's who should, in my opinion. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah,
Fine,
yeah.
I'll do that. Saquon, I personally think should absolutely win that. And then I think people are going to, I think it's actually going to be Lamar.
Yeah, unfortunately. Keaton?
I don't want Lamar having that, but
Yeah, okay, I think, well, I don't think. I do with 100% certainty know it's probably Lamar. Which I can't say probably in there, but it is Lamar, right?
It's gonna be-
I wouldn't mind Saquon winning. However, who I think should win, and it's unfortunate that he won't, is Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow
Okay.
statistically had
okay.
the best year of all quarterback, or like of all players. However, if the Bengals make the playoffs, he wins it, but they didn't. And
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
poopy
No,
stinky.
that's
But
fair. That's fair.
5,000 yards on 70% completion percentage with
Yeah.
how many touchdowns? 43 is
Yeah.
that's a really
No,
good
I
year.
agree. I agree.
So-
He did go crazy.
Yeah.
Honestly,
But
this
it's
is
Lamar's. It's
probably the
Lamar's to
most
lose.
stacked, most valuable player finalist that we've seen
Wait, Zach,
in a couple of years.
do you see a name in there that I feel like there's a name in there that you have to acknowledge?
I saw him,
Yeah, it's
but when it mattered.
My glasses
mattered.
aren't on. Is that say Justin Herbert?
All right, moving on. AP Defensive Player of the Year. We got Zach Bond, the linebacker for the Eagles that they just picked up this year. Shout out
Dog.
to Zach Bond, man. He's been a fucking dog.
Yeah.
Myles Garrett, Trey Hendrickson, Patrick Surtain, and TJ Watt. Fellas, what are we thinking? So this is what we're gonna do. Give your prediction of who you think is gonna win, and then who you want to win. So Keaton, go for it.
Okay, I who I think is going to win and who I want to win. It's a little difficult. I want Patrick Surtain to win, and I do think Patrick Surtain will win it. But again, it's not the easiest because his stats aren't like, holy shit, dude, he had 55 interceptions, right? But you have to think about the amount of times that he's getting thrown to, which is damn near 0%. And when he is getting thrown to it, no one's catching the ball.
QBs
he
have
really,
like a rating of 40 or something like that.
yeah, he
He's been
was the
ridiculous
best
all
defensive
year.
player this year, but the
Yeah.
statistics aren't always what they seem to be. So who I think will win it? TJ Watt, 6 forced fumbles with 11 and a half sacks or 13 and a half sacks. It's crazy. It's deserving for him.
Yep.
I agree with that actually 100%. That was mine.
Yeah, honestly, that's why I agree with as well. I seriously do think that Patrick Surtain should win because maybe not statistically he's had the best cornerback season that we've seen in a while. However, if you look at the film and you actually watch those games, he's clearly the best player on that defense and the best player on the field most of the time. He's been the best defensive player on the field, I think, all year. However, cornerbacks never get the love. I think it'll probably be TJ Watt or Myles Garrett who get it. I mean, which sucks because it's always between those two guys. But yeah, shout out to Patrick Surtain, man. Moving on to the AP Offensive Player of the Year. This is where things get real fun because we have a fucking nuts race here. I said the MVP finalists were crazy. This year has been nuts. We have Saquon, who has the second most rushing yards of all time in a fucking regular season. Joe Burrow, who had 5,000 yards and 40-something touchdowns. Jamar Chase, who won the Triple Crown. Derrick Henry, who had obviously a great season. And then Lamar, who we think is going to win MVP. So we can get rid of Lamar. And I think we could probably get rid of Derrick Henry as well. It's realistically between these three guys. And typically, if I want to continue to give my input, a quarterback does not win AP Offense Player of the Year. So I think it's going to be between Saquon and
I do
Lamar.
too. I do too.
Mm-hmm. I do too.
Fuck, man.
I think Saquon's going to win it, but I really, really want Jamar Chase to win that, honestly.
Who's the favorite?
I have
Saquon.
no clue.
Is he the
Saquon.
favorite?
Yeah, it's not as like. Here, I can look it up.
Damn, that's actually crazy. Triple
Offensive
crown
player
winner,
of the
you're
year
not gonna win
odds.
anything.
Hold on.
It's got to be like neck and neck, right?
Offensive player of the year odds. Yeah, I mean Saquon is heavy favorite.
Really?
Minus what is this? Hold on, let me make sure the math's right. Yeah, it's Saquon by a huge margin. Minus 3,000 by DraftKings.
What the
Wow.
fuck?
So people are saying he's the lock,
That's guaranteed.
like a lock
That's
favorite.
guaranteed.
It's a
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
guarantee.
That's like 1 versus 16 in March
God,
Madness.
I just saw the Jamar Chase stats. I still think Saquon deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I mean, I think Kenneth Walker against that offensive line would rush for 1,200 yards. So Saquon played fucking amazing, and I think he's the most valuable player in the NFL. So it's going to him. But damn, dude, Jamar Chase, 127 receptions, 1,700 yards, and 17 touchdowns is
You went crazy. You went
nutworthy,
crazy.
dude. Nutworthy.
I think I'm agreeing with you yet again. I think Saquon's probably going to win it, and if I was to give it out, I'd give it to Jamar Chase. I mean, what he did was fucking incredible. I think we all,
especially with that offensive line. So he really had to step up.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Okay, moving on to the offensive rookie of the year. We got Brock Bowers, Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, Bo Nix, and Brian Thomas Jr.
This is a lock.
Jr. Yeah.
I mean, if you're saying anything else but Jaden Daniels.
Yeah. Jaden Daniels is going to win it. I want him to win it, and I think that's who is going to win it. But if I were to choose someone else, I'm putting Brock Bowers up there. That's my
Brock Bowers is a dog.
Could not agree more. And to be honest with you, I want to give a guy that's at the bottom of this list a little bit of a shout out. Brian Thomas.
Here's a guy.
That man.
Now here's a guy.
All year, he either had Trevor Lawrence or your boy Mac Jones, or a hurt quarterback playing all year. He had 1,200 yards. I think he had 11 touchdowns. Went fucking nuts in Jacksonville as a rookie wide receiver. That man's potential.
I have nightmares. I have nightmares in fantasy for Brian Thomas Jr.
I remember you saying that too.
I was so pissed.
But Jay Daniels is going to win this
dog.
one. If I was to give it out, I probably would give it out to Brock Bowers because, I mean, he had a statistically, I think, greatest rookie tight end
of all time, but statistically greatest quarterback of all time too is Jaden Daniels.
True.
But it was a great year for rookies.
I'm pretty sure Brock had the Triple Crown record of all time for a rookie tight end.
Probably.
I know that he had at least the yards and catches. I don't know.
5 touchdowns. I don't know about touchdowns, but 112 receptions and
he definitely had
1,200
yards.
yards.
I know that. And I'm almost positive he had yards as well. So shout out to both of those guys. Moving on, though, we got the AP Defensive Rookie of the Year. We have 2 cornerbacks from Philadelphia, Cooper DeJean and Quinion Mitchell. We have Braden Fisk, who is the Rams defensive end, Chop Robinson, who's an outside linebacker for Miami, and Jared Verse, who's a linebacker for the Rams. Keaton, go for it.
Okay. I think, and I pray to God that they do, Jared Verse should win Defensive Rookie of the Year, in my opinion. I thought he fucking balled out all year. There very few players could stop him. And I that's who I would want to win, right? However, Cooper DeJean, I just got to give a shout out. The guy was 40th overall in the draft, and a lot of people were like, hey, he's a first-round talent. He's just – people don't want to see him as a cornerback. Dude, he had an amazing year. He had a great year.
He played nickel and was awesome.
I know. He was fantastic.
Making plays in the playoffs. It's like, dude,
he's great.
Exactly what the film showed. Exactly what the film showed, man.
Yeah.
It's tough. Anthony?
See, I want Cooper DeJean to win it. I do, because the man's balled out. I mean, Keaton said it. He said it perfectly. And then, I mean, Jared Verse, I mean, fucking, I don't know. I don't know. This one's a little bit tough, though, because a lot of these guys definitely balled out on the defensive side. And the only one that really stood out to me personally was Cooper DeJean. The one from what I've seen, at least from games I've watched. But I think for the most part, I think I'm going to have to agree with Keaton on this.
So I have a bit of a different take.
Okay.
I think that Jared Verse is going to win it. And I think he had 8 sacks, but he was dominant all year. He had
4.5 sacks.
He had 4.5, but maybe he had
He was just
fucking
balling.
tackles for loss. I don't know what it was, but I know that he had the most pressures in the NFL, and he was top 10 ever for a rookie outside linebacker in pressures. So he was getting to the quarterback. He just didn't obviously finish. However, I think if I was to give it out, I'd give it out to Quinion Mitchell. All year long, he's been rivaling Patrick Surtain for the best cornerback in the league. All year long, Quinion Mitchell has been basically 1A, 1B with Patrick Surtain, which would be fucking nuts if two cornerbacks won an award because we haven't had that in forever. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to give it to Jared Verse. Quinion Mitchell has been fucking fantastic. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I was a hater, maybe not a hater, but I didn't believe in him because of the competition that he played at with Toledo. The Eagles got two great cornerbacks, great cornerbacks. And look, like we've said, man, these are both fucking pretty stacked rookie classes. It looks like every year in and year out, when you continue to look at it, these linebackers, these cornerbacks, these defensive ends, these wide receivers and tight ends, all of these guys that get drafted, they come in and they look like they're even more ready each year to come and actually play as a Pro Bowl type of player. And it's been fun. It's been fun, man. And specifically with wide receivers, dude, you can develop a wide receiver in one game. It's like there's an LSU wide receiver that's on this list every year. So that's fucking crazy, by the way, that there's 3 LSU players offensive rookie of the year there. But yeah, moving on. Sorry. AP comeback player of the year. I think this is kind of a guaranteed with Joe Burrow. I don't know if you guys have any opinion on it, but I would be shocked if it was anyone but Joe.
Yeah, I like Joe Burrow for this.
Yeah, I like Joe Burrow for it as well.
But I do want to give 2 shout outs. I think Sam Darnold played fucking fantastic, even though he played awful in the last 3 games. We made a clip about that. He played awful, but he did look pretty good. You just can't really argue with Joe's. And then Christian Gonzalez, homeboy, if those 2 were 1A, 1B, he was 1C all year. He looked fantastic.
Yeah.
Don't know how the fuck he wasn't an all-pro. He was fantastic. That one fucking shocked me. But, yeah, he was really good as well. AP Coach of the Year, and this is the one that I think is going to get really interesting because I have my opinion automatically, but I want to hear what you guys have to say. So we have Dan Campbell, Kevin O'Connell, Sean Payton, Dan Quinn, and Andy Reid.
I think that it has to go to Dan Quinn.
Thank you. Okay.
I don't. Okay, I will say Sean Payton had an amazing year. I got to give the guy credit. I really thought after the Russell Wilson debacle he was washed. He turned around Bo Nix, who again started out really bad. But man, Dan Quinn, first year at the helm, has that previous experience, just like Peyton, and took one of the historically worst franchises and turned it around in one season.
Went to an NFC Championship.
Gotta be him. With the rookie. Well, I mean, they both had rookie quarterbacks, but yeah.
Honestly, if I was to rank it, I think it would go Dan and then probably Kevin O'Connell in my mind. I mean, they had 14.
I agree. That was mine.
He's been fantastic as well. And then Dan Campbell, I guess Sean Payton was up there as well. But Dan Campbell and Andy Reid, I mean, we kind of expected that.
Yeah.
So seems like we're on the same page as that one.
Do we even need to do a assistant coach?
No, yeah, why not? AP assistant coach of the year. Joe Brady with the Bills, Vic Fangio with the Eagles, Brian Flores with the Vikings, Aaron Glenn with the Lions, and Ben Johnson with the Lions as well. Keaton,
I think Vic Fangio deserves it over Ben Johnson.
Okay. I know that you're trolling. Yeah,
I'm not trolling. I'm not trolling. I swear to God, I'm not trolling.
I'm taking.
I think Vic Fangio deserves it. Best defense in football. Best defense in all of football.
Well, I don't agree with that. I think if I was to give it out, I would give it to Ben, and who I think deserves it is Ben Johnson.
That's
he
fair.
was probably the 3rd best coach overall in the NFL last year. So
sure.
That's it, though. That's it, fellas. That's going to be really interesting. Obviously, that's next Thursday, February 6th. So we'll be able to see that maybe like after live or something. But I don't even know if we'll do live. But yeah, we'll be able to see that and talk about it probably in the episode after that. I think that wraps it up, unless you guys have anything else you guys want to talk about.
No, I'm good.
I'm chilling.
Cool. What an episode, fellas. Man,
what an episode.
We only have one more before the season's over. One more before the season's over. Fellas, it's been a pleasure.
We got 2 more. We got 2 more.
Yeah, but it's really just a recap of the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Fellas, it's been a pleasure. Go check out the merch if you guys haven't. Please like, subscribe, comment. We'll catch y'all next week. Peace.
Be exhausted.
I'd be exhausted, yeah.
3rd down and 9. Cousins looking, hit. Ball comes loose. Seahawks recover. And it's taken all the way back into the end zone by Hall. Mafe with the initial hit.